Hey everyone and welcome back. Have you ever been watching a live stream and gotten totally annoyed by that lag?
Oh, yeah,
Like
totally.
when the sound is so far ahead of the video that it like ruins the whole thing?
Yeah, yeah, it's the worst.
Well, today we are diving deep into how 5G is going to revolutionize live streaming and well, hopefully make that annoying lag a thing of the past.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
So we've got two really interesting sources for this deep dive.
Okay.
There's this article from Orange all about the potential of 5G for live streaming,
Right.
and then a case study from the GSMA 5G Business Accelerator Hub about a company that's already using 5G to produce some seriously impressive live events.
Oh, wow, so they're already doing it.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But first, let's talk about that lag.
Mhm.
The Orange article actually points out that with Wi-Fi or 4G, live streams can be a whopping 30 to 50 seconds behind real time.
Wow, that's a lot.
I know, right? They even use this analogy of a soccer fan hearing their neighbor cheer for a goal before they even see it on their own screen.
Oh, I can definitely relate to that.
Like, talk about frustrating.
Right.
Right.
Totally. And, it's not just about missing a goal or something.
Yeah.
That kind of delay could actually be a big deal for things like interactive TV game shows
Oh, yeah.
or even emergency alerts. Like that lag could actually have some serious consequences in certain situations.
Right, exactly. It's not just about entertainment. It's about safety.
Right.
But okay, so that's where 5G comes in, right?
Right. 5G has the potential to eliminate that lag almost completely,
Oh.
making live streaming actually feel, well, live.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
But how does it do that? Like, what's the magic behind it?
Well, it's not magic.
Yeah, okay.
It's a combination of 5G and a bunch of other cool technologies.
Okay, like what?
Things like multicast, which is
Yeah.
basically a super efficient way of broadcasting to a huge audience all at once.
Okay, hold on. Multicast. I'm not familiar with that. Can you break that down for me?
Sure. So imagine with your typical live stream right now, everyone watching is basically getting their own separate stream of data.
Okay.
It's kind of like having a million cars all trying to squeeze down a single lane highway.
Ah, okay, I get it. So it's like a digital traffic jam.
Exactly. But with multicast, it's like suddenly having a multi-lane superhighway.
Right.
Everyone gets the same stream of data all at the same time.
So smoother streaming, less buffering,
Exactly.
less strain on the network.
Exactly. And you know what else is great about it?
What?
It actually uses less energy overall.
Oh, wow.
So it's more environmentally friendly. The article even mentions that Dominique Tomei, a product manager at Orange, sees this as a step towards a low-carbon economy, which is pretty cool.
Oh, I love that. Okay, so we've got less lag, happier planet. 5G is already sounding pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive.
But let's switch gears for a sec and talk about that GSMA case study.
Okay.
They highlight this company called TVU Networks
Right.
that's already using 5G to totally change the way live events are produced.
Oh, interesting.
They call it remote production, and apparently it can save broadcasters a ton of money.
Really?
Yeah, like we're talking a potential cost reduction of up to 90%.
90%. Wow, that's insane.
I know, right? It's a game changer for sure.
Yeah.
But I'm curious, how does the quality hold up when you're producing everything remotely?
Well, you might be surprised. The case study tells this really cool story.
Good.
A major U.S. media company actually covered an entire sporting event using just 5G smartphones.
Wait, what?
Yeah, they mounted these smartphones on gimbals for stability,
Uh-huh.
and viewers got these amazing up-close views that you just wouldn't get with a traditional camera setup.
So they filmed a whole sporting event with smartphones.
Yeah.
That's crazy that people even realize.
Apparently not. Paul Shen, the CEO of TVU Networks, actually said that most people couldn't believe the quality was coming from phones and cloud infrastructure.
So it wasn't just cheaper, it actually opened up a whole new world of creative camera angles and perspectives.
Exactly.
What else can they do with this remote production setup? Like what other kinds of events are they using it for?
Well, it's not just about saving money.
Okay.
It's about being able to broadcast a much wider variety of live content.
Right.
Because the production is so much cheaper now, it's actually feasible to broadcast all sorts of events that might not have been financially viable before.
Okay, I need examples.
Yeah.
Like what kind of events are we talking about here?
Well, imagine live streams of local concerts
Uh-huh.
or amateur sporting events
Hi.
or even community theater productions. Things that wouldn't usually get much attention could now reach a much wider audience.
I love that. It really democratizes the whole live event experience.
Exactly.
So basically, anyone with a smartphone and a 5G connection could potentially become a broadcaster.
Yeah, pretty much. The case study also mentions how 5G could be huge for things like live shopping, which is already super popular in China.
Okay, live shopping. I've heard of that, but what exactly is it?
So picture this. You've got this massive online event where hosts are showcasing products in real time, and viewers can ask questions, interact, and even buy things right then and there. It's super interactive and engaging.
That's really cool. I can totally see how 5G would be perfect for that, with so many people like buying and interacting all at once.
Exactly. And it's not just about shopping either. Remember that multicast technology we talked about?
Uh-huh.
Well, with 5G, you can actually have multiple camera feeds all running at the same time.
Oh, wow.
So viewers could actually choose their own perspective.
Like being able to switch between different camera angles at a concert or something?
Exactly.
Oh, that would be amazing. I'm sold. But all of this obviously relies on a really strong and stable 5G connection, right?
Right.
Like, how do they make sure that everything runs smoothly?
Well, that's where mobile operators come in.
Okay.
The case study talks about how TVU Networks works really closely with companies like China Unicom, AT&T, and Vodafone to guarantee a reliable 5G signal for all their broadcasts.
So in the past, companies had to use multiple SIM cards and different operators just to make sure things worked properly.
Yeah, exactly. Paul Shen from TVU actually mentioned that individual operators just couldn't guarantee the kind of consistency they needed for these big events.
But with 5G, they can get what they call higher priority service through a single operator.
Exactly.
That's got to simplify things a lot.
Oh, it does. It makes it way easier for mobile operators to manage their networks, too. So it's a win-win situation.
For sure. The case study also mentions this partnership between TVU, NOS, and Ibertelco.
Oh, yeah, that was cool.
They used 5G to enhance coverage of Portuguese football matches, adding cameras in spots that were basically impossible to reach before.
Yeah, and they even experimented with holographic interviews over 5G.
Whoa! Holographic interviews.
Yeah, can you imagine a player being interviewed live, but their image is projected as a hologram in the studio?
That's next level. It sounds like 5G is really pushing the boundaries of what's possible in live broadcasting. But what about the future, right? We're all going to want to watch everything in 4K and 8K eventually.
Yeah, for sure.
Can 5G really handle those massive file sizes?
Well, that's where 5G millimeter wave comes in.
Wave.
Yeah, it's like a supercharged version of 5G with crazy speeds and bandwidth. Paul Shen seems really excited about the potential for high-resolution live streaming in places like stadiums and concert halls.
So we're talking about crystal clear 4K and 8K live streams without any lag.
Exactly.
That's incredible. But how far off is all of this? Like, when can we actually expect to see these kinds of experiences become mainstream?
Well, the case study mentions that TVU is already testing 5G millimeter wave for 8K transmissions, and they're seeing some amazing results. So the technology is ready.
Wow.
Once millimeter wave is more widely available, I think the demand for these kinds of experiences is going to explode.
Okay, this is all super exciting. It seems like 5G has the potential to revolutionize live streaming in so many ways. But let's take a moment to recap what we've learned so far.
Okay.
We started by talking about that annoying lag we all experience with current live streaming tech and how it can affect everything from watching sports to getting important emergency alerts. And then we dove into how 5G can basically eliminate that lag, making the whole live streaming experience, well, truly live.
And don't forget about multicast.
Oh, yeah,
Which is like building a super highway for data so everyone can stream smoothly at the same time without causing a digital traffic jam.
Right, and it's better for the environment, too.
Yeah.
We also talked about that awesome work TVU Networks is doing with remote production. Using 5G to cut costs, come up with cool new camera angles, and even make it possible to broadcast a whole range of events that might not have been possible before.
And they're already thinking about the future, 4K, 8K, millimeter wave technology, it's all happening.
I know, it's pretty mind-blowing.
Yeah.
And this is really just the tip of the iceberg. In Part 2, we'll dive even deeper into the viewer experience and explore all the cool ways 5G is going to change how we watch and interact with live events. So stay tuned.
Sounds good.
Welcome back, everyone. So we've talked about how 5G is going to be like a total game changer for live streaming, but I'm really curious about what it means for the viewer,
Yeah, me too.
Like, we've talked about how 5G can make it easier and cheaper to broadcast all these live events.
Right.
But what about the people watching them?
Right.
What kind of cool new experiences can they expect?
Well, imagine watching a live concert, right? And being able to choose your own camera angle, like you're directing the show yourself.
Oh, wow.
Or picture being at a sporting event, but virtually, and experiencing it from all these different perspectives, like
Yeah.
right there on the sidelines, or even from a player's point of view.
Okay, hold on. That sounds amazing. Like you're actually there in control of your own experience.
Exactly. And remember we talked about network slicing?
Yeah.
It's like having those dedicated lanes on the data superhighway for different purposes. So even if there are like a ton of people streaming at the same time, your connections stay smooth and reliable.
Right. No more digital traffic jams. Okay, but back to those personalized viewing experiences for a sec. The Orange article talked about how broadcasters are starting to work more and more with mobile carriers for help with data transmission.
Right.
Do you think we're going to see more of those kinds of partnerships, like the one between TVU, NOS, and Ibertelco?
Oh, totally. I think those kinds of collaborations are going to be essential, especially as we move towards things like higher resolutions and more complex production stuff. Mobile operators, they have the infrastructure to handle all those massive data streams.
Right.
And they can work closely with broadcasters to make sure everything runs smoothly.
Makes sense. It's funny to think that in the past, these companies had to use like multiple SIM cards and different operators just to make sure they had a decent connection.
Yeah, it was a real hassle.
But with 5G, they can just get that higher priority service from a single operator.
Exactly.
That's got to be a relief for them.
Yeah, for sure. It makes things a lot easier for everyone involved. But, we can't forget about those super immersive experiences we were talking about before. VR and the metaverse, right? With 5G, it could take those things to a whole new level.
The case study mentioned 5G millimeter wave having the potential for that, but they also seemed a little hesitant about it being adopted everywhere. Why is that?
Well, you see Millimeter, it's super fast and powerful,
Right.
but it has a shorter range and can be more sensitive to interference.
Oh.
It's kind of like having a super fast sports car, Amazing on a wide open track, but maybe not so great for navigating a crowded city.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
So it's better suited for like specific places like stadiums or concert halls, where they can set up the infrastructure for optimal coverage.
Right.
But for broader coverage, we're still going to rely on traditional 5G.
Got it. So the Orange article talked a lot about traditional TV broadcasting.
Right.
But the case study also mentioned live shopping, which seems like a totally different thing. Do you think those two worlds could ever, merge?
Ooh, that's a good question. Imagine watching a live fashion show and being able to buy the outfits right there on the spot without even leaving the stream.
That's pretty wild.
It could totally change the way we shop and experience advertising. It's like bringing those targeted ads we see online into the world of live events.
That's both exciting and a little terrifying.
Yeah.
But it definitely shows how 5G is going to blur the lines between, entertainment and shopping.
Totally. It's not just about the technology, it's about how it changes the way we experience everything.
So, big picture, what does all this mean for the average person? How is 5G live streaming going to impact our daily lives?
Well, think about the things you already do online. Watching movies, listening to concerts, shopping, connecting with friends and family.
Right.
5G live streaming has the power to make all of those things more immersive, more interactive, more accessible. Imagine going to a virtual conference, right?
Yeah.
And feeling like you're actually in the room with everyone. Or taking a virtual cooking class from a world-famous chef, all from the comfort of your own home.
Wow, that's amazing. It sounds like 5G is going to break down a lot of barriers.
It is. It's about making things more accessible to everyone, no matter who they are or where they live.
I love that.
Yeah.
This has been an awesome conversation so far. Before we move on to the last part of our 5G deep dive, we'll talk about the bigger picture, like the impact on society and stuff.
Right.
Let's do a quick recap of what we covered in this part.
Okay, so we talked about how 5G is going to totally change the viewing experience, right?
Yeah.
Personalized camera angles, those crazy immersive VR and metaverse experiences, and even the potential for interactive shopping within live streams. It's a lot to take in.
And we can't forget about those key partnerships between broadcasters and those mobile operators.
Right.
They're the ones who are going to make sure we can actually watch all this amazing content.
Exactly.
So in part 3, we're going to shift gears a little bit.
Okay.
Talk about some of the bigger issues around 5G live streaming.
Yeah.
Things like privacy and security and what it all means for traditional media.
It's going to be interesting.
So stay tuned for the final part of our 5G deep dive.
Ah.
Welcome back, everyone. So we've talked about all the cool stuff that 5G can do for live streaming.
Yeah.
But now it's time to get a little bit real,
Right.
Like with any new technology, there are some things we need to think about, like Privacy and security, those are big ones, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I mean,
Especially when we're talking about this level of connectivity and data sharing, like those things are super important to consider.
exactly. Imagine a future where there are live streams like everywhere.
Yeah.
Concerts, sporting events, even just like everyday life.
Right.
How do we protect people's privacy when there could be cameras and microphones like constantly capturing everything?
That's the big question, right? We need to make sure that people's data is handled responsibly. Like there need to be clear rules and ethical guidelines about how that information can be used.
Right, transparency is super important. And what about security?
Yeah.
With so much reliance on 5G networks, even for important things like infrastructure and stuff, how do we make sure these systems are protected from cyber attacks?
That's huge. We can't just be focused on protecting our entertainment.
All right.
We have to think about things like essential services, too. We need to invest in really strong security measures and make sure that everyone's working together, like governments, mobile operators, tech companies, everyone.
Okay, so privacy and security, super important stuff.
Definitely.
But what about accessibility?
Oh, that's a good point.
We've talked about how 5G can make it cheaper to produce live streams, but what about the people watching them?
Right.
Will everyone actually be able to benefit from this technology?
Yeah, we can't just focus on all the cool new tech and forget about the people who might get left behind, right? If 5G is really going to change live streaming for everyone, it needs to be accessible to everyone.
I agree. So what can be done to make sure that happens?
Well, I think we need to get creative. Think about things like government subsidies for people who can't afford it, investing in broadband infrastructure, especially in rural areas. We could even explore stuff like community-owned 5G networks.
Yeah.
We can't let 5G become just another luxury for the few.
Okay, so let's talk about the potential impact on, traditional media.
Okay.
With live streaming becoming so accessible and engaging, do you think it could, eventually replace traditional TV and cable?
It's definitely possible. I mean, we're already seeing more and more people moving away from cable and towards those streaming services.
Right.
And 5G could really speed that up. As live streaming gets cheaper, more reliable, and even more immersive, it could easily become the main way people watch things.
That's a massive shift. But what about the traditional broadcasters? Do you think they'll just disappear?
Well, I don't think it's the end for them, but they're going to have to adapt. Maybe they'll focus on making more unique content that you can't get anywhere else. Or they might partner with mobile operators to offer, bundled packages with streaming and stuff.
It'll be really interesting to see how it all shakes out. It seems like every time there's a big technological change, it brings a whole bunch of new opportunities and challenges, right?
Totally. It's like we're in this uncharted territory.
Yeah.
The potential of 5G for live streaming is huge, but we need to be aware of those potential downsides and make sure we're working towards solutions that benefit everyone.
This has been such a fantastic conversation. As we wrap up this 5G deep dive,
Yeah.
I think it's important to leave our listeners with something to ponder. What do you think?
Well, I think a good question to ask is how 5G will change how we see and interact with the world around us. As it becomes more and more part of our lives, will it bring us closer together or create new divisions? Will it make things better, or will it present us with a whole new set of challenges?
Those are great questions. And I think the answers really depend on us, how we choose to develop and use this technology. It's not just about the tech itself. It's about our values and priorities as a society. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the world of 5G and live streaming.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
It's been a blast exploring all the possibilities and challenges. And if you want to keep the conversation going, be sure to join us online using the hashtag 5G Deep Dive. We'd love to hear your thoughts.
For sure.
Until next time, stay curious.